Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Oji.
Dr. Dapchi, good morning. We missed you yesterday.
Yeah, I missed you too.
I hope you had a good day yesterday. Yes?
He did.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
I Spy.
Yes, he made the cover.
Somebody whose initials are R.A.
Yay!
Front row on the left.
Oh, fame at last.
There you are.
You made the cover of this day. Congratulations, Dr. Dapchi. Good morning, Tundun. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Good. Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
Morning, Oji. How are you doing?
I'm doing
I hope
well.
you're brilliant. I mean, Dr. Dapchi, you're saying fame at last. What supersedes the fame you had this morning? Back and forth.
I saw that. That was...
What supersedes that?
I don't even know what to... How could you describe that conversation?
You got a man riled up, Dr. Dapchi. You got a man riled up.
Well, he is Dr. Dapchi. Well, good morning to you, viewers. We begin what's trending in Nigeria. On Tuesday this week, after the terrorist group Boko Haram claimed responsibility for the abduction of over 300 school children from a government school in Kankara, Katsina State. An audio message from a man who identified himself as Abubakar Shekau, leader of Boko Haram, claiming that the group was responsible for the abduction of the students, began trending on social media. Reactions trailed the message. The Bring Back Our Girls movement, chaired by activist Oby Ezekwesiili, accused the government of being indecisive about the rescue of the schoolboys, the same way it did about the remaining Chibok schoolgirls and Leah Sharibu, the Dapchi schoolgirl abducted in 2015. They also demanded the immediate sack of the service chiefs and a review of the security architecture of the country. Well, after that audio message was circulating on social media, a lot of people have been talking about it. I mean, activists like Oby Ezekwesiili, Aisha Yusufu, a lot of people are really outraged with that. I know we interviewed Ms. General Eneche, who also claims that this is all propaganda by the group, saying that that audio message was not accurate and all of that. But that's the conversation a lot of people are having on social media. Also given the fact that the NCC had announced that they were going to block the SIM cards, right, if you have not registered with the NIN. A lot of people were very upset, especially also when Bashir Ahmed posted that information on Twitter talking about the NCC. He got backlash. I'll take a tweet from Oluwatoyin, who wrote, which network is Abubakar Shekau using? And hope you're blocking his network too. And as regards to data slash, when is it going to take effect, sir? So people are asking, what is that communication line? We need to know if this audio recording was recent or not, because that's the conversation a lot of people are having. It all boils down to security, with lack of security and all of that in the nation.
It's so funny what Oluwatoyin tweeted.
Yes.
That was my point this morning on the news headlines.
Okay.
I just want to know what network that man is using. If he's able to send voice notes, it was an audio message, a voice message has been recorded. It's a voice note. He sent it via what, WhatsApp? Because
Correct.
Where is he getting the data and all of this in the bush where they're supposed to be? These are important questions to be asked. That needs to be identified. Exactly. That needs to be identified rather than throw the rest of the country into absolute jeopardy by giving a 2-week window, such a short window. As you said, so rightly, in the middle of the second wave of a pandemic, you're going to force people into tight queues, airless offices to go and get an NIN number when, however, this person sent this voice note can easily be traced or ought to be easily traced. It's really quite shocking. And now about the first part of your story with the response of those activists and comparisons, obvious comparisons, to the Chibok girls' abduction, the Dapchi girls. The parallels are obvious, but I do hope that it's like the Dapchi girls when they were all rescued, minus, unfortunately, the 5 that died on the actual day of the kidnap. They were all rescued apart from Leah Sharibu, who still has not been rescued. Unlike the Chibok incident where 112 are still missing. There's no clue as to their whereabouts. Some of them were reported to have married their Boko Haram captors, whether forcibly or willingly, we don't know. That is not an option for these boys. What will tend to happen with these boys, because Boko Haram reportedly have used women and children suicide bombers more than any terror organization in the world. This is a huge emergency. Those boys have to be released now. The longer it takes, the worse it gets, the scarier it is, and it's completely unacceptable. Can you imagine what the parents are going through? I saw footage of the parents saying that they're going to stay in the school and they're not leaving until their children are returned. It breaks my heart.
Well, 3 quick issues with regard to the statement that they bring back our girls movement. First, Chibok girls in 2014, Dapchi girls in 2016, and now in 2020, we're dealing with the...
bring back our boys.
They bring back our boys phenomenon. They are saying that since it looks like the Nigerian government is incapable of dealing with the problem, then the Nigerian government should seek help, either from regional or international sources, to see how this problem can be solved. Well, there is already in place a multinational joint task force. That multinational joint task force, which includes some of our neighbors, Chad, Niger, Cameroon, operates within the Lake Chad region, across the borders. But that, of course, in spite of that, international terrorism continues to remain a problem, across the region, in all these countries. How each country is able to manage it differs. But here in Nigeria, we have this terrible issue of a Boko Haram that is aligned with, international bodies like Al-Qaeda, like ISWAP, and other terror groups, either within the region or international or, globally. So it's a good idea to say, look, seek help. After all, one of the revelations we were treated to this year was how the United States, in October, sent a team SEAL 6 to come and rescue a gentleman called Philip Watson, 27-year-old,
yes,
who had been kidnapped, and he was brought into Nigeria and kept somewhere in Nigeria. And the U.S. government sent a team.
We cannot stop
using
that example.
Was rescued.
I mean, yes.
Yeah, look, that's how countries...
In a matter of days.
That's how countries act. And that's not the first example of, international rescue operations. Not to even talk of, a situation that is domestic. The military in Nigeria, the police, the various security agencies, yes, they insist regularly that they are on top of the situation. This is now another opportunity for them to prove that they are on top of the situation. But I hope the Bring Back Our Girls movement will have noted what General Enenche said this morning, that Nigeria is not talking to African, or talking to anybody to come and help us, because his attention was drawn to a story today in the papers that we're seeking help in terms of rescue operations. But if it is seeking help from, more resourceful, military operations anywhere in the world to get those kids rescued, I think Nigeria should not hesitate in doing that. The second major point for me that the Bring Back Our Girls movement raised has to do with the anguish of parents. They made it clear that, look, we all should be concerned. I saw some of the pictures of those missing kids yesterday. I couldn't look at the boy's picture for a second.
Yes.
Because, I just looked at the boy's face. I said, what? He's missing?
Terrible.
Such an innocent-looking boy. And imagine hundreds of young children like that. We're talking about kids who are in secondary school, GS1. What age do children these days enter, get into secondary school? Around 10, 11?
Yes.
Can you imagine 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, children who are used to being with their parents? I just hope that we will not wake up one morning and we will hear that, within 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, that some of these children have died. Because if you dislocate a child, a baby actually, a child of 10 is basically a baby, put them through trauma, anything could happen. Now, the third takeaway from that statement by the Bring Back Our Girls movement is that I hope that if, as a follow-up to this statement that they have issued, they now decide to organize protests to further draw the attention of government, because the government may not have received their letter. Nobody may have bothered to read the statement, you know, because it looks like government officials are not these days even aware of what is published in newspapers. And then the movement can then take an additional step and say, we have launched Bring Back Our Boys protests, and they will begin to gather across the country. I hope nobody will now, at that point, turn around and say that protest is illegal and begin to tear gas them, as they did to the parents, to the mothers of these same children. What Nigerians just want to see is a sense of momentum, of commitment, an effort, you know, synergy, collaboration, a determination on the part of government to ensure that these children are rescued. As I said, I go back to that point. The United States has shown us an example of what can be done. Whatever it takes, if it means engaging the services of either private military contractors or asking the United States to bring the SEAL team that rescued Philip, that will help a lot indeed. Otherwise, there is no further assurance that the Nigerian government will give people. People may not believe them because there is that trust deficit between us and the people. Until those boys are brought back, you will see that Nigerians will remain skeptical.
Well said, Dr. Abati. Rufai, your take on the story.
So, I think a couple of months back, I was watching the National Day Parade of Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is a very tiny African country. The entire economy of Ivory Coast is not up to Lagos. Quite small population. But I saw an elite troop, an elite terrorist troop, that all their function to do is when you have insurgency situations, an elite special branch of the military goes in there and takes care of it. That's the Ivorian army. I'm not sure they stand the strength of the Nigerian army for anything. Are you telling me that as of today, we don't have an elite terrorist group that are properly trained on counterinsurgency, espionage, and kidnappings that can go into that bush, combat that area, and do this mission and come back, successfully bringing the boys back? Is that what you're telling me? Secondly, we spoke to Major General John Ineche, said they are combing the area, kinetic operations going. But a lot of Nigerians have heard kinetic operation. They've heard kinetic over and over again. They want the kinetic to be a case of, correct me if I'm wrong, all important crystallization. We want the kinetic to crystallize. And when it does, those children will be back home. It is quite sad that we'd have gotten to this point as a country where anybody can just come and take children and go away. We signed up to self-school program. You know, sometimes when we ratify things and sign them up, I don't know if we understand the full details of the responsibility those things come with. But it's obvious. What I'm most concerned about are the parents and those children. I asked him earlier on, and I didn't get a convincing answer. Is there anybody providing psychosocial support? We know parents of Dapchi school students that died of a heart attack.
Yes.
We have forgotten them because, you know, in this country, we suffer selective amnesia. We're so quick to forget, and we move on. Vulnerability is a Nigerian trait. I coined that word anyway. Is anybody giving those parents psychosocial support on ground? Are they having regular meetings? Is anybody meeting with those parents? Do we even have the names of all those parents that their children are meeting? And are we with them? Are we having meetings? Thirdly, whatever they are doing, please, we beg them to do it fast. Because you will start hearing parents die as a result of this, which we don't want our citizens to die. COVID-19 pandemic has killed enough. And it is a time for us to step up in this country. Whatever the military is doing, we wish them a lot of good, but we want those children out speedily. Major General John Ineche gave me his assurance, gave us his assurance this morning as a father. And he said we should support the military. Military we will support. But please, Don't keep us waiting for too long. You know, there's a local phrase in Nigeria. Don't put us in on its coming. We want those children to be out on time so that they can be reunited with the parents. And we pray, most importantly, for God to give those children courage. Only God can understand what they are going through in the bush now, fighting for their life. You heard an account of one of them saying he just had to make an escape for his life because his leg was hurting him already and he had sickle cell anemia.
Yeah.
I pray God be with those children in the bush. God
Amen.
give them the strength and God comfort them.
Amen. We'll take another story. In Nigeria, several traders in Lagos have lost their goods after a demolition exercise allegedly ordered by a local government chairman over the weekend without prior notice to the affected persons. In a video currently circulating on social media, gunshots were fired while the demolition took place, and hoodlums used the opportunity to cart away millions of naira worth of goods. Let's take a look.
This is 23 Road Market. Government, they scatter all the whole shop for 23 Road. And it belongs to Igbo people, not even a Yoruba. Yoruba don't sell all these shops finished. Now Igbo get them. Now they are destroying it. And the owners of these shops, they are not around. And they are destroying it. They are not around. They are destroying it. 23 Road Market. This is it. First stack. These are Igbo people's sweat.
Look at, just imagine everywhere. They have scattered people's property, no provision. People lost their things. Even some of them lost their lives. No notice, nothing.
This morning, we just saw trailers. They just came, demolished down our shops. What is Nigeria turning into? Everywhere. I just managed to pack some of my properties down here. Both my shears, my speakers, all demolished down. Is this site supposed to be unknown to us, no information? We are just living like blind people. Doesn't the government of Nigeria have compassion for their citizens? All these things they are doing, what good are they doing for their citizens? If they can come with wickedness to demolish shops, what will become of the people? What about people whose livelihood is just there? Computers are there, materials are there, all demolished. Is it right?
Tundu, we keep seeing this demolition exercise taking place and everyone keeps talking about no prior notice. That break in transmission or communication between the federal government and the people is really terrible at this point. As you can see, gunshots were fired and apparently people died. I don't know the specifics of the details of whether or not they got permission to demolish, but at this point it is ridiculous. Apparently it is a local government chairman of Amuwo Adofin in Festac, Valentine Buraimo, who ordered this demolition, and something needs to happen.
Well, yes, it's not the federal government. It's actually the local government, the third tier of government. He claims, Mr. Braimo, he claims that stakeholders were carried along, notice was given. But that, for me, is unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
The rationale, being proposed, is that the idea is to move that market to some other site. Why not wait until that site is ready, allow people to move, and then demolish? You cannot demolish while there's no alternative site, while people do not have the notice, while they have not moved every last thing that belongs to them. This, for me, makes absolutely no sense. In the middle of COVID-19, with all the economic hardship, in the approach to Christmas, what kind of barbarism is this? Who does something like this to their fellow human beings? It shouldn't be this hard to be Nigerian, for crying out loud. This makes no sense to me whatsoever. None.
Well, I think that this is very embarrassing for the Lagos state government. We may be talking about chairman of the Amuwo Adofin local government, the gentleman you referred to, Valentine Buraimo. The local government does not have its own laws with regard to urban planning in Lagos State. There is an urban planning and development law of Lagos State. And there is a ministry also of physical planning. And the local government, so the question to ask is, what is the Lagos State government doing about this? Because you see, the argument, the discussion will move very quickly from the Valentine Buraimo to the plight, the fate of, entrepreneurs, small and medium-scale entrepreneurs in Lagos to what the Lagos State government is doing. And it is surprising that in the last 24 hours, we have not had anything from the Lagos State government. I don't know whether you have had anything.
I have not.
About that. So the Lagos State government has a responsibility to take an interest in this, because it may be in a word of thing and you are quoting the local government chairman. The blame will eventually go to the Lagos State government.
Absolutely.
Especially.
Rightly or wrongly?
Yes, especially as, that video that you showed is already talking about ethnic attack on Igbo traders, Igbo business people in Lagos. It's not the first time that will happen. You recall when the Lagos State government tried to move the spare parts market in Ladipo, close to Mushin. The whole argument at the time was that this was an attempt to frustrate Igbo people who are doing business in Lagos, and that became a big issue. And from Amuwodofin to Kokomaiko, all the way down, in that axis, on that Badagry Expressway, that's an Igbo enclave. So it's not surprising if we are told that, look, most of the people who own shops in this axis, Kokomaiko, Alaba, all the way from Festac, all the way down towards that area. In fact, the representative from that area, I think, in the House of Reps, is even an Igbo person. So that ethnic part of it makes it also sensitive. The third issue has to do with procedure. Now, the Ministry of Fiscal and Urban Planning, or even if it is the local government, you can talk about them because they are in charge of markets. You will first of all give notice. Now, when a notice comes in, because the chairman of the local government is talking about structural defects.
Rubbish.
It's the Ministry of Physical Planning, Urban and Physical Planning, that is in charge of structural defects. They will come, they will mark the building, they will identify what the structural defect is, they will tell the person to come to their office, and they will give directives in terms of what they have observed. They will even give you time to correct it. They will ask your engineer to bring drawings, right? Now, if you don't do it within a certain period, the same department of government will come and give notice and say, well, we are giving you this notice. By so time, we'll come and demolish your building. Now, if you don't do that, they've given you enough time to correct, and then final notification. Then if you don't do it, then they can come and pull down your building. Except, of course, that building is going to be demolished or acquired in the public interest. And that public interest will also be defined, and you will be compensated. But to hear that in this particular case, some government officials just came with bulldozers and pulled down persons' buildings, whether it's a market or not, these are properties we're talking about. So that's why I think that higher authorities will need to look into this expeditiously, because in maintaining the law, government also should not be seen to be breaking the law. Because when government breaks the law, as happens frequently in Nigeria, you are derailing the democratic process, you are violating the purpose and function of government, and you are further alienating the people from government. And I hope that if the owners of those shops are telling the truth, and they have been treated in this manner, that they will go to court and seek compensation and insist on their rights, because there is a lot in here. But it's important for us to hear the other side. I won't go by what the local government chairman is saying, because on one hand, he says the structures are defective. On another hand, he says they are trying to set up another market. So do you set up another market by destroying people's means of livelihood?
Especially like during Christmas.
And the State House of Assembly should also investigate this, because they have a responsibility to find out what is it that has happened in Amuwodof.
And why were gunshots fired, Rufai?
I mean, it's quite a very sad one. I don't know why gunshots were fired. It's as if we just like to shoot. I hope it wasn't blanks they fired there. It's as if we like to shoot.
No, somebody said people died.
It wasn't live bullets.
No.
I hope it wasn't live bullets. I hope it was blanks they fired there. Because, it's so annoying. It's so annoying what this country is becoming. Honestly, let's tell ourselves the truth. It's so annoying. Why must we always be in the vanguard of causing other people pain? and we say it's government. And we are so quick to say government is dissolution from the people. How would the people love government when you see things like whatever the case might be, you are damaging people's property, people's economic livelihood. But it's not today. That's what governments do. We saw the case of River State now. Governor Wike, somebody's hotel. We also saw the case of Yinka Yefele. The governor came, bulldozed his TV station. So it's become a recurring decimal, and I don't know, we just cause a lot of pains. We leave people heartbroken. We forget in a hurry. We don't look back. We just come, hurt people, go. Like you asked me, Oji, I don't know why gunshots were fired. You are hurting people. Isn't that painful already? Then you are firing gunshots on top of that. Is he adding insult over injury? And the other man is saying structural defect. Valentine Brahimo. What structural defect can be corrected? In the 60s, after they had a building wave in England, and they built homes, and they discovered there were structural defects in those homes, that rainwater was seeping into those buildings, they corrected them by putting cladding. So why can't they correct these ones? But you know there's ulterior motive, but they probably change hands. Let's hear from both sides. Let's hear from all the sides. But you're saying we should take it to the state, Lagos State House of Assembly. Is if those ones will not call us lazy youth again, that we are not ready to work. So what is even going on? You report now to the lawmaker, they will call you lazy, they will call you hoodlum, they will call you names. So what is really, why are we just hell-bent on making life difficult for the average Nigerian that we have not given anything? But the so much they've been able to eke out from their ingenuity, we can take it away from them in one fell swoop.
Well, you are quite correct. Abi? You cannot be more correct, as Professor Akintenewa would say.
Thank you so much.